This is me, as Queen said her real one. Thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask An Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. So I was talking to Papa Bear and a couple other people too, now that I think about it, and they were talking to me about being honest. Now, a lot of times at Ask an Aquarius, I encourage you to be honest. I encourage you to have the hard conversations. I encourage you to express your feelings with your partner. I encourage you to tell the truth whenever possible, and most times it's possible. If it's life or death and you're hiding somebody from, the Gestapo, and you lie about it, of course, I'm not going to look at you negatively. You saved that person's life. But I do think that in most cases, you should be honest as you possibly can. So one of the things that happened when I first started priestess training and started learning to be honest, I ran into a very big snag because it was like, how do I be honest with is difficult information, when it's bad news? Quite frankly, how do you tell somebody nicely that you don't like them or you don't want to be around them, or that something that they did was fucked up? Like, how do you say that nicely? So for a long time, I just didn't try. For a long time, I just was like, look, my yacht said be honest. She didn't say be nice about it. So I would just be honest. I would just blurt things out. I would just say them straight up. For years, I would just say them, and you just deal with it. That's on you. But what I learned was that that wasn't good either, because then, it's okay. It fulfills the honesty requirement, but it can get you into hairy situations. It can hurt people too. And, I try not to hurt people as much as possible. I think that we should be kind to each other whenever possible. So when he said, how can I be honest with tact? I knew exactly what they were talking about because I had to fight through this myself. And the answer to the question is, you have to cultivate compassion. And many of us, especially those of us who are Aquarius, we kind of shoot from the hip. And when you ask us a question, even like on Ask an Aquarius, when you guys ask me questions, I pretty much come with the Rilla. I don't sit there and sugarcoat you and blow smoke up your ass. I tell you, look, this is what it is. This is what you need to do. But I do it in the kindest way that I possibly can. When somebody asks me about their boyfriend, I don't say, look, you being stupid and you getting used, dog. I say, it seems to me that you have a problem with reciprocity in your relationship. You see, I said exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. But the wording. So the first part of it is carefully wording what you're saying to a person. A lot of times I practice it. I practice it a lot. And as I practiced it, it's been years now since I've been practicing it, so it's gotten easier and easier over time. But the first aspect of it is practicing how to say it to them nicely. The other aspect of that, like I said about cultivating compassion, you can cultivate more compassion. It's a skill. The Buddhists teach it, phenomenally. I have what I call a metta meditation, which I will attach to this video. And the metta meditation, the purpose of it is to cultivate compassion. So the more compassion you cultivate inside of yourself in general, the easier it's going to be to word things nicely. Okay? If somebody comes in your home and they don't smell good, you can say, damn, you stink, dog. Or you can say, there's a very unpleasant aroma. Is that you? Both things are exactly the same, and they're both embarrassing, if you ask me, as the person that's being said to. But one is stabbing a little bit deeper than the other one. It's just all about planning it. And a lot of times I do rehearse what I'm going to say to somebody if I know in advance what I got to tell them. Now, if it's a cold reading where I'm just reading their cards and I have to tell them, I wasn't always the most tactful. Some of my clients who still rock with me will tell you, I used to just blurt it out. But over the years, I realized how, by cultivating compassion, to say things in a kind way. So You have to cultivate that. It's a skill. It's a skill just like anything else. So you would cultivate it by doing the compassion meditation. You would cultivate it by listening to Dharma talks on compassion. Remember, I said the Buddhists are masters at this. I'll actually, underneath this video, attach one of those too. And that's how I learned compassion. Listening to Buddhist monks, practicing meditation, and just thinking about what I was going to say before I say it. A lot of times we have notice, before we're going to say something. We know we got to talk to our mom about her annoying habit. We know we have to talk to our husband about what we don't want to do on holiday this year. We know this ahead of time. So you can sit and you can take your time and you can think about what you want to say. Another thing I do that has served me well is I wait until things come up naturally in conversation. A lot of people miss that window. It'll come up and they won't say anything. They'll miss the window. So if I have to tell somebody something that's unpleasant and it comes up in the conversation, I take that window like, ooh, it came up. Okay, so, and I go for it. But like I said, instead of telling them in the harshest possible way, I tell them in the nicest possible way. It's all about how you word things. If somebody is making you angry, you can say, look, you're getting on my fucking nerves. Or you can say, let's talk about our relationship and how we can communicate better. You see, they're all the same thing, but it's just the way that you say it. You can pretty much say anything to a person as long as you say it in the right way. It might not be comfortable for either one of you, but it'll go down a lot smoother. Okay. So for those of you who have a problem with this, I would recommend doing those things. Check out the links I'm going to put underneath here. Check out the Dharma talks about compassion. Do the meditation on a daily basis. It works on subtle levels on your energy and on your body over time. Practice what you're going to say to somebody before you have to say it, whenever at all possible. And just as you're telling the person, try to remember this. And I remember this every time. If this was me, how would I want the person to tell me? If it was my mistake, if it was my error, if it was my situation, if it was me, how would I want them to tell me? I wouldn't want somebody to come out and be like, look, you fucking up, dude. I would want them to tell me in a nice way, in a kind way, Well, you need to work on some things. There's some things that can be improved. I want to hear it in a nice way that doesn't fucking set me on fire, So those are the things I want you to think about before you have another difficult conversation. Because I do encourage the difficult conversation. I think that most people, the reason how come they don't get what they want in their relationships is because they're too chicken shit to have the difficult conversations. Seriously, I do think that. I think that people are too afraid to just say what they want. They're too afraid to tell the honest truth. We're constantly, in our culture, selfish. We don't want to tell somebody something that's going to make them, take back their support or their encouragement or their, whatever they're giving us, We don't want to tell our boyfriend or our girlfriend how we feel for fear of how they're going to respond. So I do encourage the hard conversation. So this is something that you should learn. Another thing you can learn, and I'm going to also put the link to that, is there's a technique called nonviolent communication. It's another technique that you can learn. Now, this isn't from the Buddhists. It's from a man. I think his name is Marshall. It's Marshall something. And I'm going to go find it and I'm going to attach it to this video. Learning nonviolent communication was something that was very helpful to me. I actually taught this to my coven when I had a coven years ago. I taught them this technique. We all learned it. And basically, nonviolent communication is how to communicate with someone in difficult situations with empathy. And again, it's a technique. So I'll give you that book because I learned it from the book. And then I started to use it. I've known it for so long now that the technique is just part of my personality, But you can learn this technique and make it a part of yours if you choose to. And again, it's called nonviolent communication because it teaches you how to communicate with someone in a way that doesn't put them on the defense, in a way that doesn't cause a fight between the two of you, in a way that they hear what you're saying and you hear them. Okay, so you can learn that technique as well. And I bet you, if you really think about it, there probably are other techniques, but these are the ones I know. I know the nonviolent technique, and I know how to work with the Buddhist information. And those things, all those things together, can really be a big help to you. But you still have to practice it, and you have to utilize it. You can read 30,000 books on compassion, but if you don't utilize it, it doesn't help you, you know? So I'm going to put all these links underneath here. And if you really want to learn how to be more compassionate in your conversation, take a look at them. Read the book, learn the techniques, do the meditations, listen to the talks. They give Dharma talks. The one I'm going to give you, they give these Dharma talks every Friday. And they're not all about compassion, but there's like 40 about compassion. So listen to them, think about it, consider it, you know. Even if you're not Buddhist, you can use the knowledge. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might need to learn about having tact in a conversation. And also, I wanted to tell you before I go, someone asked me to do another Q&A. And I have 5 questions actually already for another Q&A. So if you guys want me to do another Q&A, I'll be glad to answer any questions about myself you want to know. I have 5 right now. If you put some underneath here, when I have 5 more, I'll do another Q&A. Okay? All right. I'll see you guys later. If you would like to donate to our channel, please check out my PayPal underneath here. If you would like to sign up for an oracle card reading, I'll also leave my email. And if you want to ask a free question, you can email me that too. I will also leave you guys my social media information in case any of you guys want to hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. Okay, guys? See you later. Bye-bye.